guys. I'm having the great pleasure of sitting here together with Reggie Washington, a bass player initially from New York. And I've learned a couple of things about him. I was quite surprised, actually. Reggie was a key participant in the modern jazz revolution in the US in the 80s, 90s, and in the 2000s. And he recorded and performed with people like Steve Coleman, Branford Marsalis, Cassandra Wilson, Don Byron, Leslie Bowie, and many others. So he's a great accomplished jazz musician. He played on more than 100 records, and he has toured extensively throughout the world. And he also held workshops and masterclasses in US, in Japan, and in Europe, including, believe it or not, my home country, Austria. Reggie lives today in Brussels.
Yeah.
Welcome, Reggie. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. And
Thomas, good evening, man. How you doing? How you doing this wonderful dark evening?
Yeah, it's apart from being cold, it's yeah, it's a little, the situation in Europe is not exactly so funny right now. But anyway, thanks for taking the time. I've learned that you live in Brussels now. You moved from the United States, from New York, from the center of jazz music. You moved to Europe, to Brussels. How did you end up in Brussels, and what is it that you're doing here in Europe?
Well, I've spent a lot of time in going through and touring through Europe, man, over the last 30 some odd years. And going back and forth. You meet people, and you go back. It's become such a habit. But what really got me here was simple. It was love.
All right.
Yeah. It's pretty basic. You said during the time, like the couple of years before I decided to move over here, I was over here extensively with Roy Hargrove and RH Factor. For a moment, I think I spent a grand total of maybe a month or two in New York, and wasn't working. I was just barely living there because I was always over here. But actually, I met my love in New York, and I was going back to Europe to tour with Steve Coleman. But we kept in touch. I was, yeah, she wanted to see me, I wanted to see her, and I just decided it's time. There's nothing really. What is there for me in New York? It's not the way it was. I love it. It's in my blood, but I needed a change, and
One
plus
thing,
there's great new life, just something different.
one thing led to another, more or less. No.
Oh yeah. We were on the same wavelength, and she's a she's a serious warrior for music, man. She's a great music manager, and we things clicked. It's pretty simple. Things clicked, and I decided, forget New York. It's done. I've had my 40 some odd years there. Let's try something new. Let's try a fresh new approach to everything. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, it was a wonderful choice. It's a great new viewpoint.
And we are glad to have you in Europe, to be honest.
Yes.
Um, I've checked out some of your records and some of your videos online on your YouTube channel, and my very first question is, um, how why did you become a bass player? So if I remember in my old days, bass players were never really, you just started to play bass because you couldn't play guitar or the guitar player was already there. So what made you become a bass player?
Actually, well, in the orchestra, I was a cellist. Actually, I was a pretty good cellist. I was sort of a freak of nature, and at the time in the early and mid '70s, there really wasn't many avenues for young black cellists, especially in the orchestra. You don't get many. You get kind of like string calls for recordings, but during my teens and early 20s, there just wasn't anything. There wasn't really anything there, and um, to be honest, I was tricked into first playing bass by a conductor by the name of Tony Diaz. Because I think he had seen me messing around playing the bass in in orchestra, like in between when we would have a break. I'd be messing around with the bass because I had messed around with bass in the house when I was little, maybe 9 or 10. So I was messing around with it. But I really never took it seriously because of my love for the cello. So
Mm.
he told another conductor, "Look, if you need basses in the band in your orchestra, you should take him out of the cello section and put him in the bass section. Just do it."
Mm.
And I didn't find this out until years later when I saw him after I graduated from high school. And he told the guy to do it, so he did it. And they put me to the back of the bass section, which wasn't the very best place, especially for me thinking that I'm such a great player, cellist that is. And I thought okay, I'll just be sitting back here. I'll just I'm just taking up space until they get more bass players. So that's what they told me. We're going to do an audition and we're going to have some more bass players come in. Okay, cool. And I was the only one that went in there. And every time they would make a mistake, they would look at me and the rest of the section. And my ego just could not take it at that time. I was 15, I think, 14, 15 years old. I couldn't take it. So I went home and I took a bass and I practiced and
Mm.
practiced and practiced and practiced until I moved up to be principal of the section. And me and another guy that I know that's playing now, Ron Wasserman, and um, who else? And Paul Nowinski. These two guys. We were at the front of the section of the orchestra, and we were so loud, and we were players. We could play at a young age, and I started like playing bass. And then when I got home, which was a serious melting pot of music, my father was a jazz enthusiast. We had thousands and thousands of records inside the house. We always played them. My brother, Kenny Washington, who's one of the finest drummers on the planet, he's also a jazz historian, and he used to play records all the time. When I mean all the time, I mean all of the time for at least 20 years. I heard nonstop music of everything, everything from Motown, Earth, Wind and Fire, Stax, Tamla, Stevie Wonder. Also, every Charlie Parker solo, all the train solos, Dexter Gordon, Archie Shepp, Jimmy Owens, Clifford Brown, Miles Davis. My favorite bass player, Sam Jones, Ray Brown, Oscar Pettiford, George DeVivier, Paul Chambers. Yeah, all these guys. Milt Hinton. Then I used to have Reggie Workman come over because my brother he was also a drummer very early, very accomplished. I think he's an old soul. So all of these things that were happening all at one time changed me into being a bass player. From a cellist. I never went back to playing cello. I wish I did play cello, but bass felt so much more at home. So I tried to play other instruments. I tried to play saxophone. I tried to play alto. I heard Bird. I switched to tenor. Then I heard John Coltrane. I said, "Oh no, this is crazy. No, I can't do this." So I was trying to play baritone saxophone, but it's a huge instrument. And for me, trying to play baritone, I said, "Pfft, forget this now. I can't do it. So from there, I went to violin. Violin is too girly. Then I went to viola. Viola was still a little bit too girly, and I stayed on cello. But since there were no opportunities playing cello, you know, then it went to bass. And
Yeah,
the
good to hear
bass,
that you tried a lot of different things and you ended up with bass anyway. Yeah.
yeah, you just got there, man, and it's such a cool instrument because you're supportive of everything, depending on how you play the instrument. Playing for the good of the music.
Mm.
That's the one thing. If I had to tell any young player, play for the music. Play to give to the music, not too much, not too little, and no bullshit. Just listen to the music because it'll tell you what it needs. I know a lot of young players love to play a whole bunch of notes, but that one good note is what sets off everything.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And some cats got it and others don't.
Yeah. Reggie, what do you think is what's your strong part? What do you think makes you a good musician? And also, are there any weak parts? Is there anything that you are currently actively working on to improve?
um, I think, well, as we were speaking about before, being supportive in the music. That's one of my strong points. I try to play what I play, not to play any more than that. Because a couple of musicians that I have the utmost respect for have said pretty much the same thing. Branford Marcellus and Monty Alexander told me, says, man, you don't play bass guitar, man. You play bass, and really that's what you need. You know, yeah. Monty said, man, you play bass, fine. Yeah, so I like it. You play bass,
Mhm.
and that meant so much to me because that's what you try to do. You're trying to fill up that space and try to be a cushion, or a comfy couch along with the drummer. That's why it's really all the bands that I played with. The drummer and I have had a very interpersonal, cool relationship. In any band that I didn't have a good relationship with the drummer, you know, it, it was
Yeah,
usually explosive. You know,
yeah.
or we learn to get at least learn to get along.
So, and what is your weakness?
You know, um, it has always really been soloing. Because I want to find an identity, a really a singular flavor. Because I'm left-handed, but I play regular. I play right-handed. So the articulation thing was never had it, and so I had to rethink how I would approach the instrument. So I went to the very rhythmic melodic thing, with not being very melodic. But then I started to find out all the solo is kind of like a bass line sped up. That's the way I was looking at it. But then I started to listen to other instruments instead of just bass players, obscure folks, and then I started to like really center in and focus in on the leaders that I've worked with, and listen to the way that they make the way they play and the way they solo, how they construct solos. Solos to me are seen in shapes, and everybody has their own singular shape. The way they approach a solo, and the things that you use to make a solo. Are you using components from the melody? Are you using components from the chord changes that you hear, or the particular version of the song that you've heard, or are you going a little bit more esoteric and going by how you feel that day? Or somebody dropped egg salad on your shoe on the train when you were coming to the gig, so you're here to express that. Or you had an upsetting afternoon with your girl, and you got her on your mind, or you don't feel good. So I was trying to find different ways of how to express myself because I wasn't playing fast and playing a whole hell of a whole lot of notes. So it's always been soloing.
Right.
To me, I look at it as being as kind of a sore spot, but other folks just, man, how you just be soloing, man. What are you thinking about? Well, my sister, she's an excellent violinist. She's the better musician out of the three of us, my brother and I, and her. She's the best. She can read flyship paper, all kind of different stuff she can read. But as far as soloing, she's how do you do that? I'm so jealous. I
Mhm.
just and I really don't know how to say it. It's about, I guess, life experience and how much of that language do you speak, or how much knowledge of that language do you have in order to express yourself in that musical conversation.
Yeah,
So
I
you
understand.
know, well, I'm there, and then but a lot of that, it also that's the way I go into thinking my bass lines. So almost to mask the fact that I can't play fast, I've almost intermingled the soloing aspect and the rhythmic rhythmic harmonic aspect of playing bass all together. So
Mm,
it's just a it's a matter of logic.
mm, mm. And
And
so, as far as I'm concerned, what I can tell you is that it perfectly works for me. I was actually listening to some of your records, especially this Rainbow Shadow project of yours,
yeah,
where you collaborate with a DJ Grasshopper. That is really that was really something new to me. Yeah, I've seen jazz bands before, and I used to play in jazz bands before, but this is quite some outstanding thing. And can you describe on the creative process in the band on how you write new music for this constellation?
oh man. Well, first of all, when I was, let me see, I first got hip to this type of thing with Branford Marsalis and Buckshot LaFunk, because we had DJ Apollo from San Francisco in the band, and Bram was giving him certain things to to scratch and to interject within the music. It was sometimes he would do some of the stuff like take it to the DJ, and then it would be a DJ feature within it, and then it would be banned. But then it started to be he would intermingle into the band situation instead of it being having the DJ as being a sideshow. So as I started to see this and more and see some other folks doing it, um, I thought, well, man, I want to do this. So I had this other project called Music of the Phrase with myself, Jeff Lee Johnson, a friend of mine here, Pat Dorcion, great drummer from Belgium, and um, and I met uh, Grasshopper. That's Grass. Now, Grass is another type of human. He's just another ilk of human being, and he had something real special when I first saw him, maybe 2007 or so. Then we started doing some stuff, and I thought, when we first did some gigs, he had his particular stuff that he was interjecting into the music. It was cool, but it wasn't really making sense, and he wasn't growing. So what I started to do was the tunes that I would do. I would give him the original versions. Yes, I have on Freedom. I do a monk tune, Monk's Mood. So I gave him Monk's Mood from Thelonious Monk Quartet featuring John Coltrane at Carnegie Hall. I gave him all of that. Says you use this because we're playing that tune. So I want you to scratch this part. And there's a part of Monk's solo that he was using. And I said, okay, use this part. Dun 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 dun. So use that and scratch that part. I want that part to keep going. So from there, he just started losing his mind. Because I was giving him these pieces, and he would interject parts of the song within the song as we were playing it. And so it was original Monk within the tune, and then we would work that. So this is how it started to grow. And I would just give him stuff from the tunes that we were working on, and I was trying to teach him how to comp like a piano player, like a guitar player. So Jeff Lee, thank goodness, God rest his soul, he showed Grass little ways of comping and the whole concept of the comp not being, over top and being overbearing, laying back and being complementary to the soloist and what's going on. And he can do it in his special ways on the turntable. Now, after that, Rainbow Shadow it was a, is a tribute to Jeff. So I was doing all that music that we do for Rainbow Shadow is all Jeff's music. Because he was a prolific writer. He has at least 14, 15 CDs under his own name. You should check them all out.
Mhm.
And I took, for the first CD, I just took all my favorite Jeff tunes. I did a couple of rearrangements on some. Some of them I didn't. And I also gave all of that material to Grass. It's okay. You're the voice of Jeff. You interject Jeff in places. And I'll let you know where we can use this stuff. We were using vocals. We would use and sample different parts of guitar things and make them, and make grooves out of that. And it started to just explode into the volume 2,
So
where
it's basically it's a very collaborative approach. You're giving space to your fellow bandmates, and you take their creativity into your own process, more or less.
yeah, we're staying true to the song itself, but and also we have I have Marvin Sewell, either Marvin Sewell or David Gilmour playing guitar in the band, and also Pat Dorsion. Pat Dorsion was the last drummer to play with Jeff before he passed away, and I have Grass, him, Marvin, and myself, and we're staying true to the tunes. We mess around with the versions, with different versions of it, and try to incorporate Grass and to use him in 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 as many ways as humanly possible, so we can have him as like a keyboard player or the other kind of guitar player.
I understand.
And it works pretty much. It's an experiment.
Yeah, yeah.
You
The
know,
only thing I can say is whoever listens to this interview, check it out. It's a really fantastic thing, actually. Reggie, when when somebody like you who played with, I don't know, huge number of musicians who toured the whole world, what is the one performance or the one recording session that you will remember for the rest of your life? What is that one thing?
recording sessions. Oh man, Well, I know of one. I know one concert and one recording session. The one concert, 1995, um, North Sea Jazz Festival. We were playing. We were playing at the Staatenhalle, where they have the two stages, one on side, and each one alternates between acts. And the act before us was Tribal Tech. I'll never forget that.
Gary Willis.
Yeah. Um, who else was um, oh man, it's Gary and oh man, he's gonna hate me. But I know yeah, because I was all hyped because of this. Because we were playing with I was playing with Buckshot LaFunk, and they the gate the curtain closed. And we getting all our stuff together. Everything is like okay, cool. Since man, how many people are out there? I don't know, maybe 1,000. And there weren't that many people checking out Tribal Tech, so I thought it was the same amount of people, and they were just going to move over. They finished playing, and they said Buckshot LaFunk, and the curtain opens up, and the entire Stoughton Hall is full to the brim. That's like 10,000 folks. I never really saw that many people all at one time, and everything just and I had like third grade stage fright all over again.
Okay.
So where you pee pee just a little in your culotte from excitement. I was whoa, this is what we do this shit for. I remember that one and the recording session. See, there's been so many of those. The one that I can think of is for RH Factor and with Roy Hargrove. It was like a whirlwind of musicians coming in. There was so many people. It was a wonderful experience. 5 days of music madness, of writing out charts and being eating Jamaican food and staying up all night and doing overdubs and okay, we're gonna do this acoustic bass part on this joint. Okay, we're gonna do this one. Where's Reg? Oh, he's sleeping. All right, let him sleep. When Pino Palladino and Cornell Dupree. Who else was in there? Michelle and D'Angelo, D'Angelo, Common, Q-Tip. There were so many people. Just it was in and out over a 3 week period in Electric Lady Studios in New York.
Mhm.
I'll never forget that in 2003. It was just crazy, and the music speaks for itself. Because
Mhm.
that music will never. It's timeless. It's timeless music, and we didn't know what we were doing at that time. We were just having fun, enjoying the time and meeting new musicians new old musicians that you'd only heard of, but now you get to hang out and you know, talk shit and have a good time. And that's like it's coming up on its 20th anniversary of that recording, man. It was an epic recording, man. I really miss those times. But those are two situations. But I have hundreds.
Yeah, I imagine. It sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. Reggie, I know that you are good friends with Mike Stern and Pino Palladino. Are there any bass players or any other musicians that 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 have qualities that you really admire? What would be such a musician? What would be the quality of it?
Man, folks that are that evolve and that stay true and their integrity for the music doesn't waver. Guys like Steve Coleman, it's a genius. I have the utmost respect for him because he's unwavered in a pursuit for music for a genre, man, and was not wavered by journalists or popular opinion, or that's too cerebral for people to want to deal with. I don't think people are going to want to. Just, man, if people feel it in their heart, they're going to listen to it. And the whole M-Base collective, that movement during the 90s, we moved through all through Europe, all through Europe, and it was we had to work for our love, hitting all the clubs in Germany, through Austria, in Switzerland. Um, then we were starting to get some love in France. Then we would start trying to get some love in Italy, and then other outlying places like Poland, and and going. We were in Yugoslavia when it was Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia. You know, we that was it was a it, his music was un the concept and the integrity of the music was unwavering, and we were exploring, and I was following. We were following him. We were following his example. The utmost respect for Steve Coleman. Who else? Um,
But let me ask you another question. What's the musician that you have not played with yet, but you would like to play with?
oh man, there's a lot of man. um, shoot, Stevie Wonder, Dave Sanborn, Wayne Shorter. Um, who else? And there's a host of R&B cats that I would love to play with. But Patti LaBelle, I would love to play with her. Well, a great. She's royalty. Um, hmm, wow, I would love to play with Roy Haynes, Chucho Valdez. Uh, I got my wish to play with Archie Shepp. That was fun. That's like one of my dads in a way. I would really love to play with Ron Carter.
Oh, all right.
That would definitely
So,
that would make my day. I would say, okay, I'm done. I should ask, but I'm too much of a chicken.
he's a champion. There's no doubt about that.
The maestro.
Um, yeah, yeah. Reggie. Before we come to an end, um, you're a seasoned, accomplished bass player. Is there, if you had to give to a fellow bass player an advice, yeah, what would be the best advice that you could give to somebody that is maybe in his early years and but has good potential and wants to become a pro? What would be the
Wow.
advice?
Okay. From there, have a good work ethic.
Mm,
Rehearsal is for the home. That's where you rehearse. And rehearsal is for preparation for the stage. Always have a good work ethic. Be on time. Be lucid. Know your material, and understand what it is to do what you do. That's the best advice. And enjoy what you do.
mm,
Most importantly, because it could I can give a lesson on just preparation. There's a lot of young musicians just don't prepare, and then they end up doing a tightrope, do a tightrope and on executing a gig or a rehearsal. Sometimes you can make it across that tightrope. Sometimes you can get across on that fence and go right across the fence and not fall off. Other times, more than likely, you bust your ass, fall on either one side or the other side. It's better to have preparation where you don't have to do that all the time.
Mm.
Preparation, preparation, preparation. I like to prepare. I like to have all my music all in a row, all my ducks in a row. Rehearse my stuff, know all the possibilities of it, and then put them into practice once I get to the rehearsal itself. Because the way I was brought up, time is money. If you waste time, you won't be there the next time. That's how I got a lot of work because I was always on top of my stuff. Even though I was doing other stupid stuff like drinking, which I don't do anymore. That's another thing. Let's try to stay as clean as possible because this is a business. We have to show the best part of ourselves, you know. And so what? Your idol and the person that you revere was one that was taking heroin and drinking Courvoisier. That doesn't get you any closer to nirvana than
Mm.
a glass of orange juice,
Mm.
and a breadstick. Let me
Mm.
tell you from somebody who's been there,
Mm.
it's not necessary. Plus, you have a much longer shelf life. You're able to
Mm.
play 2 hours or 2.5 hours strong on the stage instead of having being, you know, up and down. It's not worth it. It's
Mm.
just not worth it. So I just say, yeah, execution. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
execution and stay true to the music and stay true to self and have a good time.
yeah, people come and pay for you to be in the best shape. I agree on that. Yeah. When it
Yeah,
comes
and
practicing alcohol or anything like this. Yeah.
yeah, and I've been one of them cats that was looking kind of messy on stage, and and I don't know. I guess the Most High takes care of babies and dummies, and I fell into one of those categories, you know, and I was able to get through most of it. I know I can remember some stories that I was told over the years about escapades with alcohol, and I swore to myself I can't do that. With the help of my wife, I we both did this, and
Mm.
we're at the I feel like I'm not at the top of my game. I'm still trying to find that top precipice thing, and it feels good to be you know being in search, man, because you got plenty of energy. Yeah, let's go.
That's how it is. Reggie, thanks for the interview. It was an immense pleasure for me. It was
Pleasure.
really, really cool meeting you. Really, really cool checking out all the stuff that you have done. For the viewers, go on YouTube and check out Reggie's YouTube channel. Check out his website with the tour dates. I think there are a couple of dates coming up right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. I am totally
If so, Corona allows. Yeah.
right. There's so many, man. I have so many pieces of music that I have over here. I'm under so much music. I'm playing with Karsten Lindholm, trio with Jan Gunnar Hoff on piano, and Karsten plays drums. We're playing in France in a couple of days. And then also I'm playing with Mike Urbaniak, Urbanator Days. It's a camp in Lodz, Poland,
Mhm.
and we got I think it's 2 days of sharing ideas and creating a concert with people that I've never played with before, except for Michael Patcher Stewart on trumpet, and great guitarist Femi Tumowo. But everybody else, I don't know, except for of course, Michael Urbaniak. So
So
it's gonna
if
hopefully it'll be great.
it will be great, I'm sure about that. So if anyone is around in Europe, check out Reggie's website with the tour date. Reggie, again, thank you. It was a real pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure. Same
And
here. Let's
I
do it
hope
again.
yeah, we do it again. And I hope I see some little videos from you playing on our Facebook group. That is something I'm always looking forward to. Yeah.
Okay, got a million of them. I'll find a few and drop some on there.
That would be a fantastic thing, Reggie.
Cool, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Take care, man.